I want you to imagine, just for a second, that your health has absolutely nothing to do with what you ate for breakfast this morning.
Right. Or like whether you hit your step count yesterday.
Exactly. I mean, imagine instead that your health is this massive cosmic balancing act taking place on a universal scale.
That's a wild thought.
It really is.
Yeah.
So on one side, you have what we might call a positive universe that is just constantly physically bombarding your body.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, there is this completely invisible negative universe that is, entirely responsible for the health of your spirit.
Well, it forces a total shift in how we approach wellness, honestly.
Absolutely.
Because we are so used to treating health as this mechanical process, right? Something you handle in the gym or, I don't know, the kitchen or the doctor's office.
Yeah, treating the body like a machine.
Exactly. But framing it on this astronomical scale turns every single human being into a living, breathing intersection of, well, cosmic forces.
Okay, let's unpack this because we are looking at a truly fascinating text today called Intermediate Health Preservation.
Yes.
And it's by an author named Skifeng. And what makes this source so compelling to me is how it bridges these really vast, esoteric spiritual philosophies with highly specific and honestly sometimes totally bizarre daily physical practices.
Oh, very specific.
Right. So whether you are intensely curious about alternative wellness frameworks or you're just looking to understand how these ancient mind-body concepts translate into literal daily habits, this deep dive is going to give you a whole new lens on what it means to be healthy.
I completely agree. And to understand the daily habits, we really have to grasp the fundamental architecture that Xufeng is working with here.
Right, the basic setup.
Right. So the author posits that a human being is a combination of two distinct parts, right? A physical body and a spiritual body.
And they operate under totally different rules.
Exactly. The physical body is influenced by the positive universe, which, includes all tangible phenomena.
So physical stuff.
Yeah, we are talking about cosmic weather, like sunspots and ozone depletion, down to gravity and radioactive dust.
Wow, okay.
But it also includes the incredibly mundane, the spatial structure of the room you are sitting in right now.
Like the walls and furniture?
Yep. The chair supporting your weight, the food you digest, all of that is the positive universe acting upon your physical vessel.
But the physical body is just the vessel, though.
Mm-hmm.
The text is very clear that it is merely a carrier. The spiritual body, on the other hand, is influenced by the negative universe, which is entirely intangible.
The invisible forces.
Right. This is the realm of higher powers, religious doctrines, your own deeply held beliefs, and something the text calls information waves.
Information waves, yeah.
That phrase jumped out at me immediately.
How so?
Well, I interpret information waves as like the lingering energy in a room after a heated argument.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Right? Or the collective anxiety of a crowd. It's the invisible resonance of thoughts left behind by the living or the deceased.
That is a highly accurate way to look at it, actually. What's fascinating here is how the source introduces the concept of the Tao operating in this negative universe.
The Tao.
Yeah. And in this context, the Tao isn't just a philosophical idea. It is the underlying invisible current of reality.
The operating system of the cosmos, basically.
Exactly. It's the operating system. According to this framework, while the physical body is just hardware, the spiritual body actually governs life and death.
Which is a huge distinction.
It is. The text states that severe physical disabilities have, minimal impact on the spiritual body's perfection. A broken bone does not break the spirit.
Right.
But if the spiritual body is defective, the physical body becomes an instinct-driven shell.
I kept visualizing this like a smartphone.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, but we need to look at how the hardware and software actually interact to make sense of this. So let's say your physical body is the smartphone hardware, the screen, the lithium battery, the metal casing.
Okay, tracking with you.
The spiritual body is your operating system and your live connection to the cloud.
Right.
Now, if you drop your phone and shatter the screen, that is a physical disability.
Yeah.
The hardware is damaged, sure, but all your photos, your data, your core identity, up in the cloud.
Totally untouched.
Completely untouched.
But the problem arises when the operating system itself becomes corrupted.
Yes.
If a catastrophic bug enters the software, perhaps from an incompatible download from that negative universe, the phone might look flawless on the outside. Not a single scratch.
But it's totally bricked.
It becomes a useless brick. It won't boot up. And this perfectly illustrates how the text describes a vegetative state.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it describes it as a physical body that is almost entirely separated from its defective spiritual body.
Taking that further, I mean, if your mind is constantly anxious, it's like having a background app, continuously refreshing and searching for a signal. You know,
Draining the battery.
yes, it drains the physical battery, causing the hardware to overheat. And the text even applies this logic to dreams.
Which is super interesting.
Right. When we dream, Sufeng says our spiritual body is essentially traveling. The physical hardware is plugged into the wall, resting on the bed. But the software is out traversing mountains and seas, totally unconstrained by the positive universe.
And entities like gods or Buddhas, according to this text, well, they are pure spiritual bodies, completely detached from physical forms.
Like pure cloud software.
Pure cloud software, existing perfectly without ever needing to inhabit a physical device.
It's a cool concept.
It really is. And this hierarchy entirely shifts the burden of health. Shuifeng breaks health preservation into 3 tiers.
Okay, what are they?
So, primary health preservation focuses purely on protecting the physical hardware. Intermediate health preservation, which is the focus of our source, attempts to balance both the physical and spiritual.
Got it.
And advanced health preservation prioritizes the spiritual body entirely. So the goalpost moves from biological maintenance to holistic information hygiene.
Holistic information hygiene. I love that phrasing. But if the invisible software of the spiritual body is constantly dictating the health of the physical hardware, how does a glitch in that software actually manifest in our literal physical tissue?
That's the big question.
Yeah, because the text moves from the literal cosmos to what it treats as the inner cosmos of human anatomy. It maps out the internal organs, but not as mechanical pumps and filters.
No, not at all.
It assigns very specific spiritual and emotional duties to each organ.
Yeah, we have to step away from the Western anatomical view to grasp this. In this system, the organs form an ecosystem. Let's look closely at the liver.
Okay, the liver.
Physiologically, we know it filters toxins, but in this text, the liver stores the soul and it governs the tendons.
Stores the soul. Wow.
And it thrives on smooth, unimpeded flow. It is absolutely terrified at the thought of stagnation.
Interesting.
So when you suppress your emotions, you create a roadblock. That leads to liver key stagnation, key being, the vital energy or life force.
Right.
And that stagnant energy ferments into irritability. Furthermore, the liver's energy meridian, the invisible pathway it uses to communicate, opens into the eyes.
Into the eyes.
Yes, so chronic eye issues might actually be a diagnostic indicator of spiritual or emotional congestion in the liver.
That is wild. And the lungs are equally fascinating in this text. They govern the skin and hair, but spiritually they store the corporeal soul.
The corporeal soul.
Yeah, unlike the ethereal soul in the liver, which might travel in dreams, the corporeal soul is tied to our physical instincts, our somatic responses, our literal survival mechanisms.
It grounds us.
Exactly. Then you have the kidneys, which store our deepest, most foundational essence. They govern bone and marrow production, and they open into the ears. I always wondered why ancient charts connect the kidneys to the ears.
Well, it comes down to those meridian lines you mentioned. The kidney meridian pathway travels internally and connects directly to the auditory system.
Oh, I see.
But conceptually, it's deeper. The kidneys represent the deepest root of our energy, much like the deep roots of a tree. Hearing in this philosophy requires a profound, quiet receptivity that draws from that deep root.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right. So if the root essence is depleted, the ability to receive sound diminishes, leading to things like tinnitus or deafness.
And all these interconnected organs create what the text beautifully calls our internal weather.
Internal weather, such a great term.
It really is. It draws a direct parallel to the Earth. When the planet experiences clear skies and gentle breezes, vegetation flourishes. But when violent winds and scorching heat strike, the land withers.
And the body is the same.
The human body operates on the exact same logic. A calm, compassionate mind generates a temperate internal climate. Your organs thrive. But significant emotional disturbances spawn violent internal storms.
And the author is incredibly visceral about the consequences of these storms. The text describes a literal toxin reservoir inside us.
Literal toxins.
Yes. It claims that anger triggers toxic volcanic eruptions that originate primarily from the brain marrow.
The brain marrow.
Yeah. In ancient medical philosophy, the brain is considered the sea of marrow, the ultimate concentration of essence.
Okay.
So when intense anger boils that essence, it creates a toxic surge that poisons the entire system, damages the organs, and severely disrupts blood flow.
I mean, I understand how anger or resentment acts as a toxic volcanic eruption. That tracks. But I have a serious bone to pick with the text's list of dangerous emotions.
Oh.
Yeah, it explicitly warns that jealousy, anger, anxiety, and fear cause these toxic storms. Fair enough. But it also warns against extreme joy.
Ah.
Wait, hold on. Why is being too happy grouped in with resentment and fear as a threat to my health? That feels so counterintuitive.
It completely contradicts our modern pursuit of peak experiences, doesn't it?
Totally.
We are culturally conditioned to chase euphoria. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, let's look at the biology of extreme joy through a modern lens for a moment. What happens when you win the lottery or, I don't know, your team wins the championship?
You freak out.
Right. Your brain floods with dopamine, adrenaline, and cortisol. Your heart races, your pupils dilate. It is a massive physiological event.
It's exhausting, actually.
Exactly. Now bring that back to the text's philosophy. The ultimate goal here is absolute balance and stillness. Any extreme fluctuation, even a euphoric one, creates a tidal wave in your internal weather.
And surfing that tidal wave requires a massive expenditure of energy.
Precisely. It drains your vital essence. You experience a profound crash afterward, like an adrenaline hangover.
I've definitely felt that.
The Taoist influence underlying Shofeng's work emphasizes that tranquility, not euphoria, is the only sustainable state for longevity. To fill the belly with vital energy, the text states, one must first entirely empty the mind. Emptiness brings clarity. Fluctuations bring exhaustion.
That is wow. And the source makes some heavy, absolute claims about the power of this internal weather.
It does.
It states that while acute external injuries like a severed artery or a broken bone absolutely require modern medical intervention, illnesses arising from emotional turbulence can be self-healed.
Self-healed, yes.
And for anyone listening, we are impartially reporting the philosophy of this text. We aren't endorsing it as medical advice.
Of course.
But Xu explicitly lists conditions ranging from insomnia to severe conditions like leukemia and AIDS, claiming they can be resolved through this framework.
It's a bold claim.
The text argues that mindset, unwavering faith, and strict adherence to preservation principles can basically overwrite the corrupted software.
It is the ultimate expression of the belief that the negative universe dictates the positive universe.
Software overrides hardware.
Yes. If you fix the spiritual body's software, the physical hardware will eventually reconfigure itself.
Which brings us to the actual mechanics. How does someone achieve this emptiness and avoid these toxic storms day to day?
That's where the practice comes in.
Right. The source provides an excerpt from a seemingly ancient guide called the Book of Terrestrial Immortality, which acts as a practical toolkit. And it starts by severely restricting our sensory diet.
Sensory diet. We constantly consume through our eyes and ears, and the text argues this consumption has a steep energetic cost.
Right, it's draining.
It warns that overexertion of the eyes depletes essence. The quote is quite profound, actually. It says, human eyes see outward to perceive objects and inward to perceive the spirit. Observing objects leads to dullness, while observing the spirit leads to clarity.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. Think about the modern phenomenon of doom scrolling.
Oh, yes. The ultimate outward perception.
Exactly. We spend hours staring at screens, visually inhaling thousands of chaotic images, political arguments, and flashy videos. We are aggressively projecting our senses outward.
And it exhausts us.
It does. How do we feel after an hour of doing that? We don't feel energized. We feel dull, anxious, and deeply depleted. This text is effectively diagnosing the mechanism of screen fatigue centuries before the first microchip was ever soldered.
That's a brilliant way to look at it. By constantly casting our visual and auditory nets into the world, we are leaking our vital essence into the void.
Wow.
To retain that energy, we have to reel the senses back in. And this discipline over what leaves the body extends directly to physical fluids. The text has an incredibly strict rule against spitting.
Oh my gosh, it is adamant about this. You are not allowed to spit unnecessarily.
No spitting.
You must swallow your saliva, which it elevates by calling it spiritual fluids.
Dispersing saliva is seen as literally spitting away your life force. The text identifies the base of the tongue, specifically a location called the swanning point, as the sea of fluids.
The sea of fluids.
Yes. And to access this reservoir, it instructs that during any meditative or energy practice, you must press your tongue firmly against the roof of your mouth.
And there is actual, verifiable modern biology validating this.
Yes.
When you press your tongue to the roof of your mouth, it stimulates the salivary glands, and engages the vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve is huge here.
It is. The vagus nerve is the main highway of the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest state.
Mm-hmm.
So by doing this ancient practice to access spiritual fluids, you are physically forcing your nervous system out of fight or flight and into a state of profound physiological calm.
This raises an important question, though, because it is essentially a brilliant physiological hack cloaked in spiritual terminology.
Totally.
But the text doesn't just want you sitting still with your tongue on your palate all day. It demands active, deliberate micro-movements to prevent physical stagnation. Remember, the river must flow.
And the physical routines are so specific. Let's look at facial care.
Okay.
The text advises vigorously rubbing your hands together until they are hot and then massaging the contours of your face.
To prevent wrinkles.
Yeah, it claims this prevents wrinkles and spots. But the metaphor it uses is stunning. It calls this practice connecting the energies of mountains and waters.
It is a beautiful microscopic mapping of the earth onto the body.
Right.
In this metaphor, the prominent bony structures of your face, your cheekbones, your brow ridge, those are the mountains.
Okay.
The blood and lymphatic fluids circulating beneath the skin are the waters.
Oh, I see.
So by applying heat and friction, you are coaxing the rivers to flow around the mountains, preventing the landscape of your face from drying out and weathering.
That is just poetic.
Yeah.
And then there's the post-meal digestion routine.
Right.
After eating, you warm your hands again, massage the spleen and stomach area, and then perform a very specific movement. You clench both fists, plant them against your chest, twist your waist horizontally exactly 7 times, and rotate your abdomen left and right exactly 7 times.
The specificity of the number 7 is no accident there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In many esoteric traditions, 7 represents cyclical completion, the phases of the moon, the days of a week.
Right.
So by twisting 7 times, you are symbolically and physically completing the cycle of digestion, wringing out the internal organs to ensure no food or energy stagnates in the gut.
And the routines to build strength and agility require serious active visualization, too.
They do.
There is a daily exercise where you plant your feet like iron pillars, lift your hands, and imagine you're supporting a 1,000-pound weight above your head.
1,000 pounds?
Yeah, you exert maximum physical tension while holding your breath, only releasing it slowly when you absolutely have to.
What the text is describing there is an intense isometric exercise combined with breath retention.
Like a workout.
Exactly. When you hold your breath and tense your muscles, you dramatically increase intra-abdominal pressure. In the context of this philosophy, you are packing qi, or vital energy, deep into the tissues and marrow.
Wow.
And the text boldly claims that doing this daily eliminates all illnesses by essentially pressure washing the internal pathways.
Pressure washing. And the routines keep going. Upon waking, you are instructed to clench your teeth together 36 times to prevent tooth decay. Again, with the specific numbers.
36 is a highly significant number in Taoist alchemy.
Oh, is it?
It is. It's a multiple of 12, representing celestial completeness. It aligns the practitioner with the 36 heavenly spirits.
Okay, that makes sense.
So the repetition physically strengthens the roots of the teeth, but spiritually, it acts as a daily alignment with cosmic order.
My absolute favorite movement, though, is for the feet.
The soccer ball.
Yes. The text says that while walking around your daily life, you should lift your toes as though you were repeatedly kicking a soccer ball.
Just kicking air.
Yeah, doing this for hundreds of steps keeps the tendons in your feet incredibly strong. I just love the visual of a serious Taoist practitioner casually kicking an invisible soccer ball all the way to the market.
It sounds humorous for sure, but it highlights a critical flaw in how we live today.
How so?
We are overwhelmingly sedentary. We sit frozen at desks, staring at screens, barely moving our joints.
That's true.
Swiffing argues that within the skin and membranes, fluids must exist to lubricate the tissues. But when energy and blood stagnate, whether from sitting in an office chair for 9 hours or harboring chronic resentment, these fluids physically condense.
Condense into what?
They turn into phlegm, swelling, and blockages.
Ugh. And the text lists an intimidating array of side effects from this stagnation.
It's quite a list.
Yeah, tight, withered skin, a swollen face, averted ears, numbness, paralysis, even a hunched back. The prevention is constant, mindful micro-movements to clear the blockages before they solidify. You have to be an active participant in your own maintenance.
You really do. You cannot treat your body like a rental car, ignoring the weird noises until the engine seizes, and then handing the keys to a mechanic.
Great analogy.
Thanks. And this active participation extends to the most vulnerable part of our day, which is sleep.
The sleep hygiene protocol in this text is relentless.
It doesn't mess around.
It doesn't. Before getting into bed, you must clear your mind of absolutely all thoughts, close your mouth and eyes, and lie on your side. But here is the critical intervention. If a thought persists, or you suddenly remember an email you forgot to send, you are strictly forbidden from lying in bed thinking about it.
Lying in the dark, wrestling with anxiety on your pillow, is considered the absolute fastest way to hemorrhage vital energy.
Because of the internal storms?
Yes, you are trapped in physical stillness while your internal weather violently spirals out of control.
Instead, the text demands that you physically get out of bed.
Get up.
You must get fully dressed, turn on a light, and address the thought while awake. You confront the anxiety in the realm of the positive universe, under the light, rather than letting it quietly drain your spiritual body in the dark.
It establishes an impenetrable boundary for your internal ecosystem.
I need to start doing that.
It's powerful. The bed is a sacred space for absolute stillness and software restoration. It cannot be allowed to become a battleground for the chaotic forces of the negative universe.
So bringing all these elements together, what does it mean to practice intermediate health preservation?
Well, it means managing yourself as a complex, interconnected ecosystem.
Right.
It demands an immense, uncompromising level of personal responsibility. You are tasked with protecting the physical hardware of the positive universe, your muscles, your organs, your fluids.
Through the sensory discipline and micromovements.
Exactly, through sensory discipline, mindful micromovements, and strict physiological boundaries.
But simultaneously, you are cultivating the software of the spirit. You are using absolute stillness and emotional regulation to shield yourself from the invisible storms of the negative universe. It is an active, moment-by-moment state of harmony.
It redefines health not as the absence of disease, but as the active curation of peace.
The active curation of peace, that is a staggering way to view the human experience.
Uh-huh.
But there is one final, incredibly provocative concept buried near the end of this source material that we haven't touched on yet.
Oh, right.
I want to leave you with this thought.
You are referring to the concept of the internal codes.
Yes, the internal codes. Tucked away amid the routines for teeth clenching and facial massage, Shu Feng makes a breathtaking claim. The text states that every single resource on Earth, every mineral, every form of wealth, every piece of external power has a corresponding hidden code embedded within the human body.
The implication there is profound.
It's massive.
It argues that the entirety of the external world is mapped out inside our biology. And it warns that chasing wealth and abundance out in the positive universe is a futile drain of energy. To obtain true external wealth, you must first dig inward.
You have to discover the corresponding code within your own biological and spiritual architecture.
Right.
The text promises that once you successfully decode that internal map, the external resources of the world will naturally, effortlessly gravitate to you. It completely upends how we think about ambition.
It suggests that the outside world is merely a reflection of our internal mastery.
It's a huge idea to mull over. What if true abundance isn't found by grinding yourself down trying to conquer the outside world? What if the key to the universe isn't out there in the stars or in a bank account, but is actually a hidden cipher encoded in your own tissue and spirit?
It really reframes everything.
It really makes you wonder, if your health is a cosmic balancing act between these vast positive and negative universes, maybe the center of the entire cosmos has been inside you all along.